Hi, I'm Dr. K, and in this video, I'm going to show you 5 reasons why you should stop calorie counting immediately. By the end of the video, you'll see if you want to lose weight and keep it off for good, calorie counting is actually stopping you from getting there. But it's not enough to say what not to do. Later, I'm also going to show you a much less stressful alternative to calorie counting that I believe is actually the key to achieving natural, lasting weight loss. And as you may know, at my weight loss clinic and also via Zoom, I've helped hundreds of women over 40 from all over the world to lose weight once and for all. And many of them turn up saying they calorie count. And here are the 5 reasons I give them to convince them calorie counting is a terrible idea. Reason 1. Why do people calorie count? It's because there can be reassurance in having a clear number that you can see, that you can calculate each day, and that makes you feel at a glance that you know whether you're on track or not. Especially people who like numbers and spreadsheets, which actually describes a lot of my clients. It's very tempting to have this instant metric. But the problem with calorie counting is that you're not making decisions based on your body or your hunger. You're making decisions like an accountant with a budget or a child with a weekly allowance, deciding whether they can afford to buy that chocolate bar or not. For example, calorie counting leads to thoughts like, I've got 71 calories left today. Maybe I can have 3/7 of that chocolate bar. Instead of actually asking, am I even hungry? This lack of connection with the body is not good because, reason 2, some days you will be hungrier than usual. Other days you'll be less hungry. This is normal. But when you're calorie counting, you don't care about any of that. You've got a certain amount to spend each day, and you're going to find a way to spend it, no matter what. I've had clients describe doing things like saving up as many calories as possible during the day till the evening so that they had enough in reserve for a binge. When you're not basing eating decisions on whether you're hungry or what your body needs, but instead on a spreadsheet of how many calories you're allowed, it not only warps your decisions, but it warps your natural eating rhythm. Reason 3. People will make decisions based on exact calorie numbers, but those numbers are often completely inaccurate, because calorie counting is really difficult to do accurately. When you're preparing meals at home, it's very hard to accurately know how many calories are in the ingredients or amounts you're cooking. Same with restaurants. They give you an exact calorie count, but so much depends on how much food is actually served to you. For instance, how much pasta is placed on your dish, how much cheese made it onto your slice of pizza, or how many potatoes are on your plate. The menu might say what you've ordered is 900 calories, but the portions you received may have made it 1200 calories. And although we have guidance for how many calories a day you're meant to eat, it's a very rough guide. A woman might be told that her daily calorie requirement is 2000 calories, but this number is such a ballpark average, it varies so much between people. And that's not taking into account that your calorie requirement goes down every year. For instance, did you know that a woman in her 50s requires on average 400 calories fewer than a woman in her 20s? But most people wouldn't take that into account. So you might be counting your calories to the number and eating for a very specific target requirement, but all the numbers are wrong. So you can see that saying, I've got 25 calories left today is probably not accurate. Reason 4. Calorie counting is a really stressful way to live. It turns eating into a very anxious, unnatural experience, and it makes you feel deprived and restricted. When I've advised clients to stop calorie counting, without exception, they describe feeling a sense of relief and freedom because they found calorie counting so stressful. You might think that you're gaining control, but eating should be enjoyable and nourishing. I always say to clients, our aim is healthy, natural, long-term weight loss. You want to make eating relaxed and not a big deal, instead of food being the enemy or something to be feared. Calorie counting makes eating stressful and contributes to feelings of restriction and deprivation because you're constantly living in the shadow of your daily calorie allowance. And that brings us to reason 5. This reason should really convince you that calorie counting is bad news, because calorie counting can trigger overeating or binges. Imagine this scenario. You've hit your daily calorie allowance by 8 p.m. that night, which we've already established that these numbers are probably nonsense anyway. But you've hit your daily calorie allowance and there's a chocolate bar sitting on the kitchen counter. What do? It's calling out to you, but you have no allowance left. So you give in and take just one bite. But that bite puts you over the calorie limit. That's it. The day is ruined, isn't it? So what's the next obvious thought? Oh well, I've ruined the day. What's the point now? I might as well just eat some more and start again tomorrow. Let's finish this chocolate bar. In fact, didn't I see a tub of ice cream in the freezer? A binge has now started. the calorie counting makes this more likely, because if you happen to go over the limit on a particular day, even by a little bit, that day is ruined and you start again at 0 tomorrow, so you might as well just keep eating today. Many people don't realize that calorie counting, which is supposed to give you more control, actually contributes to this lack of control and makes binges more likely. So I know that there can be some reassurance in calorie counting. It feels safe. Many clients have described it like a safety blanket when they didn't trust their own instincts around eating. But part of creating a natural, healthy relationship with food is to regain trust in those instincts. And to do that, you need to stop calorie counting. But then what should you do instead? If you want to create long-term, sustainable, natural, healthy weight loss, I believe there's only one alternative. I often say to clients, if you only have time to do one thing to lose weight, keep a food diary. Write down everything you eat and drink, but minus the calories. The food diary is great because it gives you that control in that you know exactly what's going on day to day. It's there in front of you. It takes very little time to keep one because you're not having to look up foods and calorie counts. I say to clients, if it takes you more than 80 seconds a day to keep a food diary, you're doing something wrong. The food diary also doesn't warp your eating decisions in the way calorie counting does with those numbers. And it gives you awareness, which is the key to long-term natural weight loss. Like I said, if I could only do one thing to lose weight, I'd choose keeping a food diary. It's that powerful. Now, if you want to know exactly how to keep the best food diary without making the mistakes that most people make, click on this video to find out more.